Hello, my name is Joseph Kong, and today we'll be talking about cloud computing. Before we begin, I'd like to say that this is a course requirement I am required to complete, and the information within this presentation reflects my knowledge and views and does not necessarily reflect the views of any other person or entity. Without further ado, let us begin. So, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is a network of servers typically hosted to be used by a company. Then the company can use the cloud to process, manage, and store their information. So why would anyone choose cloud computing? What cloud computing brings to the table is it offers companies, large or small, with the convenience of accessing information such as their company files or project information anywhere in the world as long as they're connected to the internet and they have their mobile device to do so. So with cloud computing, you get multi-tenancy and single tenancies. Multi-tenancies means that you have a single system that can be used by a large amount of customers, while when looking at single tenancies, you have a single server that is purchased by a individual customer or company. Now, the customer must buy the system, and then they also need to maintain their own individual system. With single tenancy, it's going to be a little more expensive rather than the multi-tenancy because with multiple customers paying for a single system, it's ultimately very cheap. Now, with cloud computing, you also get the Cloud Fabric. Now, the Cloud Fabric is basically software that allows the cloud to provide the services such as multi-tenancy and single tenancy. And this is all monitored by an individual called the Cloud Fabric Controller. Now, with the cloud, you get many services, the first one of which is infrastructure as a service. Now, this provides computer hardware and networking equipment on a pay-per-use model. By utilizing dynamic scaling, companies can pay for the hardware based on how much they use them. So similar to your household utilities like water, gas, or electricity, the more you use, the more you pay. The less you use, the less you pay. This applies the same for the services provided by the cloud. The more a company uses, the more they pay. The less a company uses, the less they pay. So now you also get software as a service. Now, unlike the infrastructure, the software provided are applications that companies can use on a pay-per-use scale. This allows companies to use special application software without having to pay the full price, and this ultimately cuts down on cost, and it also increases the usability of that software, allowing the company to run more efficiently. You also get platform as a service. Now, platform as a service is basically a hybrid of both software and infrastructure, being that the platform as a service provides both or all three, the hardware, networking, and the application services, and all this again is on a pay-per-use scale. Now, this allows the company to use the services but also maintain their focus on their goals, and they just leave the maintenance of the software and the hardware onto the provider. Now, you have four types of clouds. You have the public, the private, community, and the hybrid clouds. The first of which we're going to talk about is the public cloud. Now, this is a huge network that is made available to the entire public. All the maintenance, upgrades, and replacements of both the hardware and software are done by the provider. You also get the private cloud. Now, the private cloud, as stated, is basically used for data that's very sensitive and requires high levels of security. Typically, the private clouds serve only one customer, maybe a company or a government organization. They are much more expensive than public clouds, being that they are single tenancy, while the public clouds are multi-tenancy. Next, we have the community cloud. Now, community clouds are best suited for organizations that typically share the same needs and goals, so they'll usually have the same business models, or they'll have the same security requirements, or even the compliance considerations. You typically used in higher regulated industries such as finance, government organizations, and pharmaceutical organizations. So you also have the hybrid cloud. Now, the hybrid cloud basically consists of two or more public, private, or community clouds. Now, with the hybrid cloud, you also get cloud bursting, which is basically when you use your own computer to process day-to-day usages and then use the cloud when you need extra load or when you need to process an extra load requirement. This can be, an example of, our iPhones, and we use it for our day-to-day. We store our pictures, all other sorts of information on there, and then when we need to, we fall back on the cloud for that extra storage space to make sure that our phones are running or performing at an optimal level. So this concludes the end of the presentation on cloud computing. Hopefully you now have a better understanding after all the information I've pulled together here for you. I want to say thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.